Come on, you're a superstar.
Okay.
Right, who's taking notes for our friend?
Sean.
Right, okay, very
Lovely.
nice.
Okay.
Spring, do your best, mister.
Okay.
Who's styling? Okay, William.
So before my presentation, I would like to share you a small story about how I broke my ankle. Okay, so it was Friday, and I was on the volleyball court, and the setter just gave me a perfect set. Yeah, the ball was very nice, but I just jumped, and I struck the ball, and I cracked my ankle. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so yeah, the ball was actually, I got a point for that. Yes. Okay, so then I hopped off the court, and I just sit there. And the foreigner just came. I think he's from Brazil. I don't know why, somehow I just think he's from Brazil. And they asked me, "Oh, are you okay?" And I said, "Oh, it's very hurt. Can you get me a bag of ice?" And he said, "Sure, I'll be right back." Okay, so I just got help from the foreigner. And this is that's related to this topic. Imagine if I can speak any English, and then I won't be able to reach out to the Brazil guy, right? Yeah, so English is very important. Okay, and how to evaluate your English level? To take a TOEFL exam, right? So this is today's topic. I am Spring from the E department, and as a person who have never done a TOEFL exam before, I'm here to share you some tips to help you get a better score on TOEFL. Yes. Okay, so there are 3 tips. First tips, to increase or to load yourself more vocabularies. That's the basic skills when you're reading. If you don't know the words, then that would be awkward, right? So get yourself more words, and that's what we've been doing in this class. That would be useful. Okay, so the second tip is to speed up your reading. Yes, to increase your reading speed, and just try to read magazines or online articles. That will help you improve your speed. That is also helpful when you're doing the TOEFL exam. Okay, now the last tip is to take mock exam. Yes, practice makes perfect, right? So just have to do a lot of practice. But first, you can break the mock exam into 4 sections. You just do it one by one. And then after all, you just try to do the 4 sections in a row. And that must be helpful. I think so. At least I'm trying to prepare for the exam in this way. So these are the 3 tips for the TOEFL exam. My name is Spring again. And yeah, protect your ankles. Try to protect your ankles. Yes, thank you.
Hello. Okay. So good afternoon, guys. And thank you for coming today. And my name is Mark Lamb. And I know all of you need to go to Purdue University for the master's degree. So you need to take the TOEFL exams in these following 2 years. So today I'm going to give you some hints and tips for the exam. For me, I haven't taken the TOEFL exam, but I have done the IELTS exam before I came to Taiwan. And during I'm making my research, and I realized that there are so many differences between these two examinations. And both of them have the reading, writing, and also the listening and speaking part. But you need to listening to the audio and get the informations in every part in TOEFL except the reading part. So I think the listening is one of the most necessary skilled for TOEFL. So you need to practice your listening skills, and in the TOEFL, you need to listen to a lot of topics, such as about the biology, also the geography, also some questions you don't think about in your normal life, such as why so many people hate gate. So you need to learn and know some information about these kind of things in your normal life. For recommendations, I think you can read the newspapers such as the BBC and also the CNN news. Also the media, YouTube is a good place for you to learning. And the next part is reading. I think for me, I always read the question first before I just reading the essays, because I know that the answers of the questions are in the order in the essays. So when I was finding the answers in the paragraph, I won't find the answer of the first question in the last paragraph. So paragraph. So I need to just try my best to pay my attention to reading the essays, but not reading the every word in the paragraph. And you just need to skim and just go over the passage and get the general idea, and you can find the answer. For the next part is writing. What is for writing? Okay, and you need. I think you need to learn and remember some conjunctions for the writing to make your sentences more fluent, such as the moreover and furthermore and once more, and such as some words like this. And also for the speaking part, I know all of you, including me, except Ben, English is not our mother language, so don't be worried when you make mistake. You just need to practice and practice. Just so be confident and trust yourself, and also jot down some notes during the reading materials and also the listening thing, the audio. And just thank you, and hope you all, and including me, can pass the TOEFL exam. And if you have any questions, don't come to me, just come to the TOEFL God, William. Okay, thank you.
Okay. My name is Ryan, but that's not important. So let's come to recall for a bit. Imagine, let's go back just about a year ago when you're entering that test room of 学测. How were you feeling? Or just under a year ago when you were entering the interviewing room of this exact program. How were you feeling? What was the decisive factor that allowed you to be where you are right now? In my opinion, the factor is your mindset. The way you are thinking in that moment allow you to be where you are now. So, let's learn from that experience and try to apply it to our next big challenge, which is the TOEFL exam. Treat every opportunity to practice as if it is the actual test. Train your mind in a scenario as close as possible to the actual thing. And over time, you'll build up a mindset
that can take on that test easily. And in that process, you'll also build up a confidence that will allow you to know that you're gonna do well. And when you have that confidence in mind, the only thing left to do is to go out there and shine. Show them what you've got. So that's it for my sharing. Thank you all.
Oh, okay. All right, then who's up next then? They'll all run in at once. Come on, come on, come on.
鸡汤大师，我会学那个女生啊。
Right, come on. Go on, we have it. Yes, that's a deep question. That's this guy. Oh, they're going. Come on, here we go. Gavin, who's grading Gavin? All right, it's all right. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. So I will start with a short story. So it was for my physics final last semester, and I was really confident about it because I studied everything the professor had told us. But then when it came to the test, I figured out that I didn't know completely about the mechanics on the test, and I failed terribly. And so I'm saying this to tell you that when you prepare for a test, you don't just understand what's going to be on the test, but also you have to know how the test will go on. So my name is Garvin, and I'm here to talk to you about how to prepare for your TOEFL test. And we all know that there are 4 parts in this test, which is reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So I'll go in order and trying to go through everything that I figured out for each of these parts. So first we'll start with reading. And as I've discovered, what we'll read on the test will be mostly academic passages. So when you have time, try to read these academic articles as much as you can, so you can improve your reading speed and also get more vocabulary. But don't be too worried about the proper nouns, because the most important part is still on your understanding and summarizing. So there are 10 types for the reading part, but I've got a few generic tips for each of them, which is getting the keywords, understanding the semantics, and just summarizing them. Also, you need to manage your time on these questions, so skimming will be the skill you needed. And secondly, it will be listening. So in this part, you will listen to either a daily conversation or an academic lecture, but the mechanics are all the same. So my tip for this part is whenever you hear transitions, pauses, emphasizings, or questionings, the upcoming information can be really crucial for your answer. So make sure you hold on to these, and also numbers and addresses can also be a part of the answer. So make sure you pay attention to them. And thirdly, it's about speaking. So I believe most of us speak English all the time. So I'm not really worried about your speaking, but just notice that daily speaking is a lot different from formal speaking. So you have to speak thoroughly to let them know your thoughts. Lastly, I'll try to finish this quick. So writing is just like speaking, but you just write it down. So it's also the same that we have to let them know about our thoughts, but you have to be a little bit more formal, and like just what we do usually on our exercises, have formats to write our thoughts down, so make sure you follow them. Okay, so I think that everybody's good enough to hit the 80-point mark, but hitting the 80-point mark just wasn't the finish for us, because there's a lot of challenges for us to come to get over, and that's for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Even though Avery has stolen my idea, but I'm going to use it. According to official statistics, do you know the average of Taiwanese university students in TOEFL is 86 in 2018?
86, 82, you choose.
Sounds great, right? However, take Purdue, for example. It requires differently in each sections, like you have to reach 22 in writings, but only 14 in listening. So I'm Patrick. This presentation, I'm going to provide you with a special strategy to help you conquer TOEFL. Okay. In general, Taiwanese students tend to get higher scores in reading and listening part. And as for speaking, the requirement is 18 points, which converts into percentage is 20%. So I don't think you have to be overly concerned about your speaking. So as a result, the priority falls into the writing, which requires 22. I know it's a cliche, but you have to expand your vocabularies and correct your grammatical mistakes and practice with your composition every week. But furthermore, you have a lot of handy resources in your daily life, like Patrick Whiten. You can ask him to correct your article and PM him what's your mistake. And if you don't feel like this kind of traditional way to train your writing, I'll suggest you to have to surf on Reddit and have a text-based debate with foreigners. So this way, if you have a mistake in your article or your text, they will correct you, and you will want to defend yourself. So you will try hard to correct your writing skills. That way, I think you can conquer TOEFL as well. So the above are my tips for you guys. Thank you.
All right, good. That's much better. Much better. Yeah, good work. Right, let's just go through an order. The next one I've got is Jesse. Okay, you can pat one turn. We'll be looking for something more than just marvellous, Ryan. Something more detailed. Jesse, you're also key.
Hello. Okay.
Who's grading, Jesse?
Okay.
I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. Hello, everyone. My name is Jesse, and I think everyone in this class is quite good at testing. As far as I'm concerned, I think I am quite lucky, but not in English test as always. And let me share you with some interesting fact. I spent $8,000 to get 5 TOEICs, but I still didn't reach 900. But I'm here to share with you some tips about TOEFL. I don't know why, but yeah, okay. So the first one is I think we should organize the informations that is included in our listening test or the paragraphs in reading. We can also organize our thoughts when we are speaking or when we are writing, and that does help because you need to know their thoughts. If you got a system, you can easily to understand what they are going to talk and are they really talking about. And when you are doing some of the other subjects such as dynamics, you can also use this. I think that too works. Okay, and the second one is vocabularies. As the others just said, the vocabularies are very important in every kind of English test. So we can grab vocabularies in magazines, in vocabulary test books, from the internet, a lot of resources that we can use to enhance our English vocabulary level. And the final one is to practice. And I think if you really want to be better in whatever the skill is, you need to practice. And as always, practice makes perfect. Thank you.
Very clear, very nice.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, we all have to take the TOEFL exam and reach 80 score. If we don't, we just wasted 136,000 times $6 on nothing. So it's really serious problem. So I'm Jen from East Department. Today I'm gonna share you few tips on preparing TOEFL text. And I'll divide my presentation into 2 parts. The first part will be about reading and listening. And the second part will be writing and speaking. So let's start with the reading and listening. You can read some academic articles and listening to lectures in your daily life. And also build your vocabulary and make sure your words per minute are high enough so that you can catch the main idea of the article quickly. And also you can do some practice tests before taking the real exam. And so let's move on to the next part, which is speaking and writing. In my opinion, in this part, you will need a partner to help you practice. So you can find a friend or a teacher like William to help you. to help you. Also, you can make a study plan and try your best to stick to it. And grammar is really important too. Though it's quite boring, yeah. So these are my tips to preparing TOEFL test. And if you follow these steps, I believe that all of us can go to Purdue on time and stop being a plate. Thank you.
Sound. Oh, all right. So I've taken a TOEIC test once. Yeah, and so I can give you my knowledge on my experience of taking this test, and you can use it on improving your TOEFL test. Okay. So when I was preparing for my TOEIC, the only thing I prepared for was my vocabulary. So I bought a book. It was about this thick, and I read every single word inside it for 1 week. It took me a whole week to look at all the words. And then I went and took the test, and I didn't find a single one of those words that I saw. So I basically wasted a whole week of my life. So that was a bad example of how you should prepare for one of these kinds of tests. So how should you prepare for one of these kinds of tests? Okay, so obviously not by preparing vocabulary. You can take mock tests. So there are readily prepared tests on the market, or you can buy them and you can take them and you can practice each of the sections. Now, what can you learn from a mock test? So there are listening and writing sections that I think you can benefit from the most. So when you're listening to a question, you might hear something like this. Okay, so today William was riding his bicycle, and he went all right, and he went up to me and he told me a very, very intricate story about how he met this very beautiful girl on the street and how he took her to go eat spaghetti. And then when they were eating spaghetti, the girl said, "Oh, your voice is so low and sexy. Oh, wow, amazing." Okay, and then the question is like, what was William writing? Yeah, so what you can benefit from is actually taking notes when you're during the listening section, so you don't miss points like these. With writing, it's important to organize your thoughts. So maybe you have really good thoughts, and maybe you're really good at writing, but if you don't know how to put these two together, then you won't do it fast enough. So organizing your thoughts is also something that you can practice during your mock exam. All right, so the next thing you can do before a test is putting yourself in an English environment. So an English environment will be beneficial for your speaking part. So what might happen during your speaking part if you don't get into your English mode? So you might, because it's all recorded, you might say something like, "Oh, I really like apples. Apples are green and and then the person will hear that. You know, she'll be like, 什么是那个? Yeah, and you'll fail. All right, and so the last thing that you can do is practice test taking techniques. So like time management and staying calm. All right, so these are the things that you can do. And don't be sad if you don't pass the 80 limit. Okay, so don't be sad, because you can pass this test with money. Okay, so just spend that extra 6,000 块, and then you can do it again. All right, thank you.
Wait. Okay, so have you ever spent $12,000 on a single TOEFL test? Or even worse, in the future, you're gonna spend $18,000 trying to get to America just for some tests. Well, I probably will, because the test isn't valid anymore after 2 years. So that's pretty sad. But I'm not gonna teach you how to save money. Instead, I'm gonna teach you how to improve your TOEFL skills. So this presentation will be broken down into 2 parts. And you may be wondering, why 2 parts? There's 4 parts in this TOEFL test. Well, we can break it down to 2 parts because the first part is the reading and the listening. And the second part is the speaking and the writing. So why do we put reading and listening in the same part? Because these 2 types of tests, you can do a lot of questions and then you will probably get a good score. But as for speaking and writing, if you do a lot of questions, it doesn't mean that you will get a good score. You have to have a certain method to approach these types of questions. So for reading, I would suggest that you should try to improve your reading speed because for every 10 questions, there's only 20 minutes, so you have to try to read fast. And listening, you have to improve your note-taking skills because they will, the computer will say something and you have to try to write it down and then the thing will disappear. So you have to improve your note-taking skills. And for speaking, you can just look at anything around you and then be like, so when you're walking on a road, say, and you just say, okay, what are the positives of the road or the negatives? So you can think about positive and negative and you can try to say it in your mind and this will help you improve your speaking. And try to record your speaking also. And for writing, there are you have to write 2 articles and speed is very important too because you only have 1 hour. So 1 article is, you only have 30 minutes to write a 4-paragraph essay. So reading and writing, these 2 tests you need to be more time efficient. And last, you need to take a mock test. Yeah, so yeah, my name is William and this is my presentation. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Sean, and today I'm gonna share you with 3 tips on how to get better at TOEFL. But before I get into these tips, I'd like to share a story to you. And this happened about exactly a year ago when I just finished my college entrance exam, and my mom demanded me to go take the IELTS test. And because she said that if I don't take the test, then I won't have anything that's worthy to put in my resume. And so I did. But in order for my certification to get on time, I have to take the test on March 14. And that's merely 1 month for me to prepare. But I tried my best to prepare it, and it turned out pretty well, actually. I got a 7.5. And if you compare that to TOEFL, that would be roughly around 103 to 109. Okay, so now let's get into the tips. So first of all, you need to, what do you need to do? Okay, so first of all, you need to be familiar with the test format. You need to understand what question you will face and how. And the most important is how will the judges score you? Because you need to try your best to accomplish those points in order for you to get the maximum points in every section. Okay, and the second point is to be sure to take enough practice exams. For me, as an example, I took like 5 mock tests, and I treated them very seriously. I timed myself. I graded myself seriously, and I even have conversations, and I even tried speaking evaluation with my teachers at a cram school. Okay, so now moving on to the final tips. You need just practice, because practice makes perfect. And if you don't practice, then you are going to waste 6,000 on TOEFL, and that's very bad. because 6,000 NT can use for many other things. Okay, so that's pretty much it for my presentation today, and thank you. And I'm pretty sure that all of you can get more than 80, or even more than 100 on TOEFL. It's going to be a piece of cake. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Dairong, and today I want to share 3 tips on how to get 80 on a TOEFL test. So the structure so the structures of the test can be easily found on the internet and textbooks, so I won't talk about that. And I want to share 3 things I found useful last time I took the TOEFL test, and it includes 2 test-taking tips and 1 resource. So the first one is about the reading section, and I suggest that you don't read the whole paragraph once, and you read like a few sentences, and then you look at the questions, and then you read a few sentences, because if you read the whole paragraph at once, you won't remember anything. And the questions are usually in the order of the paragraph, so if you know what the questions are asking, it'll be easier for you to answer them. And the second tip is that you have to be very calm when you're taking a test, because it's in a classroom where everyone is at a different pace, and it doesn't have a scheduled time on when they'll start listening or when they'll start writing or when they'll start speaking. And it goes like, if you finish your reading section, then you move on to the next section. So everyone is on a different section in the test. So there'll be a lot of noises, and maybe someone is already on the speaking session, but you're still on the listening. So you have to be very calm. And although there are partitions on your table, you can still hear other people's voices. And some people are very, very loud, and you have to try to not listen to them, or else you'll be distracted by their voice. And the third tip is a useful resource, and it's a website, but it's from China, and it's called 小站教育 TOP, and it has a lot of mock tests and practice tests on it, and I think it's pretty good. But because our IP location is in Taiwan, so they block some of the functions and we can't take them. But it's still a good website, and I think you can have a great practice on it. And I hope you can all pass the TOEFL test on 1 try. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Let me start my presentation with the story of my senior high school student. He used to live in Hong Kong, and he could speak fluent Cantonese, around when he was 6. And after he came back to Taiwan, he stopped speaking Cantonese or even listened to Cantonese. So he actually lost the ability of understanding others speaking Cantonese. Why did I mention this story? What I'm trying to stress in the story is that we have to keep ourselves in a habit of speaking the language. Otherwise, we would lose the ability of using that language. And so today, rather than sharing how to improve yourself in TOEFL tests, I'm trying to tell you how to keep yourself in a habit of using English, this language. And my name is Bruce, and today I'm going to share 3 tips of maintain yourself in the environment. Okay, so the first thing is to probably listen to more news in English and watch some TV series on Netflix. And you can choose to read subtitles but subtitles in English, or just listen to what they speak. And by reading the subtitles, you should try to finish reading the subtitles before they actually finish their sentences. Because if you can't even finish reading the text faster than people speak, then we actually don't need books, right? You should just listen to others teach, and just reading wouldn't be that. Reading wouldn't be that efficient. So you should read faster and even just listen and don't read subtitles. Okay. The second tip is to learn new vocabularies. What I mean to learn new vocabularies is that in this era, we know that the technology develops very fast, and some new things, some new probably techniques would come out, and you should try to learn something about them and understand what the new vocabulary is. And the third tip is to... Okay, I've only got 2 tips. It's not because I forgot the third tip. I only got 2 tips, and this is my presentation for today. Thank you, everybody.
What's up? My name is Carlos. Okay, I believe we are all going to go to Purdue for our master degree. But for you to go to Purdue, you might want to get yourself some TOEFL exam. Now, beat the 80 score their show today. It's not hard. All you need to do is provide me your credit card number, 3 digits on the back, and the expiration months and date. Now, if you don't have a credit card, however, if you don't have a credit card, it's okay, because I'm going to share 3 tips for you to reach the 80 score. Yeah. Okay. Now, tip number 1: know your enemy and yourself. So, by know your enemy, I mean know the TOEFL format. Like knowing the format, then you will know how you're gonna prepare for it. And by know yourself, I mean think about the 投资报酬率. Yeah. Yeah, like my grammar is very bad, and so I will spend more time on grammar, and know yourself, and personalize your studying plan. Yeah. And then third tip is
You only have 2 tips.
no, I have 3 tips. Okay, I forgot. Sorry. Yeah, and I hope we can all get our master degree in Purdue. Okay.